The OCD and Anxiety Podcast by Robert James Coaching. Hello and welcome to the OCD and Anxiety Podcast, where we explore how to have a more positive relationship with anxiety disorders, taking back control so that you can start living the life you choose and not the one chosen by your fears. Hello and welcome to episode 130. I hope that you guys are doing very well. And if you are struggling with OCD and anxiety, you can get a free session with me. All you need to do to get that is to head over to my website, www.robertjamescoaching.com, and there you can leave me a message and we can arrange the free session. Today's podcast is looking at how do you spot compulsions, particularly mental compulsions, which can be really difficult to spot sometimes. Often they become almost camouflaged by kind of normal thinking or analytical thinking styles. However, fortunately, there are some really good ways of being able to spot compulsions and therefore let them go before they get out of hand and turn into, long-lived ruminations, which we all know are very problematic and are a big part of the reason for why OCD tends to keep going in the long run. If you find this podcast helpful, it would be amazing if you could subscribe. It really helps me to build up the listenership. And also, if you could follow and like on Instagram, my Instagram handle is @RobertJamesCoachingUK. So many thanks for listening, guys. If you have any questions, then do please let me know. And I hope you enjoy. Something I get asked all the time is, how do I know if what I'm doing is actually a compulsion? Now, if you don't know much about OCD, then you may think this is an obvious question with an obvious answer, i.e., whenever you are excessively washing, cleaning, or tidying. This can be quite annoying to hear, though, for people with OCD, as so often the compulsions are not physical and have almost nothing to do with cleanliness. If you happen to struggle with what is known as pure O OCD or mental OCD, then the majority of your compulsions are probably all done in your head and are therefore often quite hard to spot. The problem with this is that the compulsions get mixed up amongst our normal cognitions, and spotting the difference between everyday thinking and its compulsive counterpart can be incredibly difficult. This is only complicated by the fact that OCD can be so grueling and energy busting. When you consider that the brain is the most energy-hungry organ in the body, it makes sense that endlessly ruminating in the way that OCD people tend to do is going to be exhausting. According to brainfacts.org, for the average adult in a resting state, the brain consumes about 20% of the body's energy. But ruminating, compulsing, and obsessing is certainly not what we would be generally thinking of as a resting state. So I think it's pretty safe to assume that 20% is going to be a little bit higher if you're struggling with OCD. With all of this going on behind the eyes of the person who has OCD, it can be hard to just show up each day and take care of your responsibilities, let alone thrive. Thriving can actually seem like quite an alien concept when you're struggling in this way. Almost like you can see that there are aliens over there on that faraway planet called normality, but you're not really able to fathom how they do what they do or how they show up in the world with, such normality. If you don't struggle with OCD, then hopefully I'm painting a fairly clear picture. If you do, then you probably relate to this only too well on the days when the OCD is winning, and hopefully, that's not all the time. When you're feeling like this, it can be incredibly hard to spot the compulsions and let alone stop them. I mean, how do you know if it's a compulsion or not when you are desperately just doing your best to keep your shit together? Fortunately, though, there are things that we can do to disentangle actual, normal, and helpful thoughts from compulsive and self-defeating ones. The answer, as it is so often is with OCD, is to let go of trying to resolve this with the intellect. In order to start spotting your thoughts and ruminations that are compulsive in nature, you need to get in touch with how you feel about them. For example, and quite simply, if you feel like you are done with thinking about something and you want to stop it, but you can't, you feel like something is insisting or compelling you to just think about it just a little bit more, then it's very likely to be a compulsion. If you want to be thinking about it as it's something that you're interested in, then that's obviously different. That's just normal thinking. Basically, it's compulsive if you find yourself thinking that you're in some way unable to stop, that you feel powerless. And if you do have a sense of powerlessness, of being out of control, or, intensely frustrated, which so often happens, then you are most probably stuck in a rumination that has become compulsive. Learn to feel these emotions if you can, and get used to them, as they can actually help you in the future to recognize when you are stuck in a rumination, and therefore to take action to let it go. The compulsive rumination could be circular thinking, trying to problem solve and prove something to be definitively wrong or right. Remember, so much of OCD is about looking for certainty. Or it could be repeatedly playing a mental movie through your mind. Whatever it is for you, your work, should you choose to accept it, is to start noticing these mental compulsions, labeling them, and gently refocusing your attention onto other things more in keeping with your values. It's important to remember that OCD is not the boss. We are. And thankfully, despite the challenges that OCD presents to us and the energy it demands, we have the tools to spot and disengage from mental compulsions at will. It starts with coming back to the body and learning to feel those challenging emotions and recognize when the compulsions are taking over, when we're allowing ourselves to keep going back to rumination when actually we really don't want to. Learn to feel the emotions surrounding your compulsions, and that will help you to let them go in the future. So that's it, guys. I really hope that you found that helpful today. If you have any questions, as always, please do let me know. And many thanks. Just a quick reminder that if you want to get a free session, all you need to do to get that is to head over to my website, www.robertjamescoaching.com. And there you can leave me a message and we can arrange the free session. And now just a quick reminder of my disclaimer. Any information that you view on my website, Instagram page, Facebook group, or anywhere else online, or any information that you listen to on the podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for actual medical or mental health advice from a doctor, psychologist, or any other medical or mental health professional.